Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to finally be filming my labor and delivery story. Now, a lot of you guys asked me if I could do a vlog or am I gonna vlog. I didn't end up doing that because it would have just been way too much and it was just too much going on, and I wanted the time sort of to just be between me and Matt and our families, and I felt like doing a story time, it would probably just come out a lot easier and just be more clean. Yeah, it would have just been a mess if I tried vlogging, so I'm kind of glad I didn't do that. Also too, at the end of the video, I'm gonna try to introduce her because she's sleeping right now. I want to film this while she's sleeping because it's just easier. But anyways, I don't even know where I left off. I am almost 7 weeks postpartum, which makes Cleo almost 7 weeks old, and motherhood has just been so amazing. It's such a trip. It's just so beautiful being a mother. I just love being her mommy. It's such a blessing. Sorry, her binky fell out of her mouth. It is such a blessing. She is my best friend, and it is just, it's really honestly incredible. Sorry if I keep looking down. I'm trying to look at her to make sure she's okay. And also sorry if you can hear Kobe's little toes on the floor. Okay, I'm gonna sort of go into my pregnancy just a tiny bit, not a whole lot. If you guys want me to do a video on how my pregnancy was, that's a whole nother thing because it was definitely eventful, a little scary, a couple bumps in the road. I could do a video on that if you guys want me to. But in the beginning of my pregnancy, like very early on, even before my first OB appointment, I was in the ER because I had the flu. I knew I was pregnant and I went into the emergency room because I really wanted to get the Tamiflu to just knock it out. It's kind of scary having the flu when you're pregnant. I know it's not good at all. So they did want to do an ultrasound on me, and at that ultrasound, the doctor had told me I was going to be due October 15th. Now, he shouldn't have told me that because technically your OB is supposed to be the one to tell you. So I don't know why he did tell me I was going to be due October 15th, because that's the date that stuck in my head the entire time. And the following week when I had went to the OB, my doctor had officially put in my chart and officially told me that she was going to be due October 20th. Because of who I am and how I am with my brain, I just kept thinking more towards the 15th and even a little bit earlier. I just felt like I was further along. I don't know why, and who knows, it could have been right in the middle. It could have been before the 15th that I was technically due. They don't really know, obviously, but I do know that the very earliest ultrasound is going to be the most accurate as far as being as close as possible to your due date being correct, if that makes sense. And when she had given me the due date of October 20th, I had told her what the emergency room doctor told me, and she's like, why did he do that? He shouldn't have never told you that. You're not supposed to. And she's like, in your charts officially, it's October 20th. So try to get that out of your head. Of course I didn't. And I went along my entire pregnancy feeling like she was closer to October 15th. And getting towards the end of my pregnancy, October 15th came around. I still did not feel laborish at all. She was sitting very low. She was sitting very low anyways, my whole pregnancy, but at that time, she was so low. I would get like those stinging, sharp lightning pains, they would call it, and my legs would give out. It was crazy. She was sitting very low. So I didn't feel laborish as far as contraction-wise, but I felt like she was close to the opening, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's too TMI. 15th came around, nothing. And I had went to an appointment, I think on this, it was either the 14th or the 15th, I don't remember. And for me, that felt like my 40-week appointment. It wasn't though, technically, to the doctors. To me, it felt like the 40-week appointment, and they checked me, which, by the way, no one warned me. Even all the videos that I watched, no one really talked about how painful it is for your cervix to be checked to see how far along your dilation is, or if you're dilated, or if you are effaced yet. And that is really painful, like really painful. I did not expect that at all. And I don't know if it was more painful for me because she was already sitting so low and my cervix was extremely sensitive, or if everybody's cervix is really sensitive. But that was really painful. And there was no progress, of course, zero dilation, no effacement, nothing. And I just felt kind of discouraged, but I was just like, okay, it's fine. But I did ask my doctor if we could set up an induction date, and she said no, because she doesn't want to set it up until the following week so that it's closer to my 41 weeks, which to me, it would have felt like 42 weeks. So the following week came, and at my actual 40-week appointment, which felt like my 41-week appointment, she checked me again and she said I was about 70% effaced, not dilated at all, which again was a little discouraging because you want to feel, I don't know, effacement has to happen. Like, you have to be effaced, obviously, to go into labor or to deliver. I don't know why I felt like still like such a failure. Like, my body was just not going into it. I don't know. It was just weird. I felt like every video I watched, or all these people that I hear like, oh, my 38-week appointment, I went in, I was 2 centimeters dilated, and I was 2 centimeters dilated for that whole entire time, but I didn't feel any pain. And it was just 2 less centimeters to deal with when you go into the hospital. So it was just kind of, again, discouraging, but I tried to stay as positive as possible. But that day we did schedule an induction for the following week, which then was the 27th. And for me, it felt like it was going to be 42 weeks, but to them it was 41. So they did schedule an induction for me on the 27th at 8 p.m. And I prayed that entire week that she would just come naturally. I was so like nervous and just wanted her to come. I wanted my water to break. I wanted to feel some sort of contractions. I wanted something to happen. And sure enough, nothing happened. And the 27th rolled around. 8 p.m. could not come soon enough. We went into the hospital, and they didn't, you know, after the check-in process, after everything, finally, once I was settled in, they didn't check me until about 10 p.m. and didn't start the induction until about 11:30 p.m. So it was still like even more waiting. But when they had checked me again in the hospital, so painful still, it never got easier. They had told me I was only 60% effaced and 0 dilation, or not dilated at all. And I was like, wait, my doctor had told me I was 70%. And they're like, oh, she probably felt a little bit wrong. And I asked if I could go, but like, could it go backwards? And they said, no, but maybe it can, I don't know. But at that point I was only 60% effaced, 0 at 0. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit of a mission. But they did tell me and warn me that the induction can take up to 4 days and could take quite some time, especially at my stage of labor, which was pretty much nothing at that moment. They're like, it could take a really long time. You have to be patient and just trust our process and our recommendations. So I just left it in their hands. Of course, them telling me that, I was like, oh my gosh, imagine doing this for 4 days. Me and Matt were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Those couple hours just from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. for them to even start it felt like forever. So they started me on some pill. It starts with a C. I don't really remember the name of it. It starts with a C, and you get it every 4 hours, and you can get it up to 6 times. They only gave it to me 4 times because I didn't need it any more than that. But let me tell you, I started having contractions after the very first pill, and I was in so much pain, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was a lot of pain. So at that point, I was sort of talking about epidural, and they were like, you know, we recommend that you wait until you're about 4 centimeters dilated to get the epidural. And I knew I was nowhere near that. So it wasn't until right before the 4th pill that they checked me, and they said, oh, you're effaced like a lot. Your cervix is super soft. You can now go to the next step of induction, but you're only 1 centimeter dilated. I was like, oh my gosh, I was in so much pain. At this point, I was maybe 12 hours with contractions and no pain medication. And it was just really, really bad. So they gave me the 4th pill, and then they also did the balloon procedure on me, which is when they stick a tube with a deflated balloon at the end. I'm not a doctor, so these are very, very rough descriptions of what went on. It's a deflated balloon at the end of a tube, and they stick that up into your cervix and inflate the balloon until it's large enough where it's stretching your cervix out to 4 centimeters, 3 to 4 centimeters. And once the balloon falls out, and that's when your cervix is then at, 3 to 4 centimeters, and you're able to get the epidural. And I kept asking, like, can I please get the epidural? Can I please get the epidural? They're like, you can, and they kept saying, we recommend, you wait because you don't know if the epidural is going to make your labor slow down, which it could do the opposite. It can make you relax and speed up. I knew in my heart that it was going to make me relax. I was like this my entire pregnancy, and I just wanted to relax. I was so tense, but I listened to the nurses, and I waited until the balloon fell out. So I was 16 hours with contractions that were so unbearable. The moment that they told me that the anesthesiologist was coming, I was so excited, and they finally put me on some contraption where I'm leaning forward and my back is curved, and I was just so excited for him to be there. And most people are scared of the epidural, but I was not at all. I actually am an extremely anxious person, and I always research like the worst case scenarios of everything and Google all these things. I did not do any of that with epidurals because I knew it was going to be my saving grace, and I did not want to interfere or let my head get in the way. So if you're going to get an epidural and you're an anxious person, please don't research like what's the worst that can happen with an epidural. It is a lifesaver. Trust me, if you want an epidural, get it. And I knew going into being pregnant that that's going to be what I want to do. And that was my decision. And I know so many people go through natural labor and deliveries, and I think that's amazing. I do not know how they do it because I was in so much pain. After the balloon fell out and they checked me right before the anesthesiologist came in, I think I was at 6 centimeters. I was further along. It fell out, but I was dilated more than 4 centimeters. So the anesthesiologist came in and I was having contractions the whole time he was doing it, but he was really sweet and he did an amazing job because I really was still able to feel my legs and lift my legs and bend my knees and, you know, wiggle my toes. It felt like I was able to stand up, but I didn't, obviously, and I could not because after delivery, I couldn't even really stand. So, but it just felt like that. So it was nice. It kind of felt like a walking epidural. I don't know if that's what it is or anything like that, but it was such a good epidural. I started feeling relaxed and the pain started going away maybe 10 minutes after, pretty quickly. And I laid down and I started getting extreme like shivers. I wasn't cold though. It was just like really shaky. My jaw was really chattery. I couldn't talk without like my teeth chattering. And that's extremely normal. It's a side effect of an epidural. I did not care because I was not in pain and I was so calm. So an hour after my epidural, I ended up falling asleep and waking up an hour later, so 2 hours, to them checking me. If they weren't checking me, I would have still been sleeping because I did not really feel anything until like the lights were on and they were talking and they were being loud. And they checked me and they were like, oh my gosh, when did your water break? And I was like, I didn't know it broke. I can't feel anything. I couldn't even feel being wet down there at all. Like it was very bizarre, but I did not know my water broke, but apparently my water broke while I was sleeping. And they were like, okay, you're 9 centimeters. I was like, what? So in 2 hours, I progressed extremely quickly. And I knew that's what my body needed. I knew my body needed an epidural in order to relax and let go and just start laboring. She's starting to wake up, so I need to hurry this up. But it was just so amazingly peaceful after the epidural. But I do want to say, going through all the contractions, going through, you know, even being induced, even though I didn't want to, and kind of wanting to kill the nurses because I wanted an epidural and I just wanted them to say, okay, it's okay for you to get it even though you're not even dilated. I still had a very positive laboring experience, and especially an amazing, peaceful, positive delivery because of the epidural. I am so thankful for epidurals. They rolled me into the delivery room maybe like a half an hour after they checked me and told me I was 9 centimeters dilated, and they said they wanted me to relax for a little bit and then they'll check me again. They didn't want to check me too much because after your water breaks, it is a higher risk for infection if they check you too often. So they wanted to wait a little bit and just sort of watch my contractions. They were getting closer together and they were very regular. So maybe about 20 or 30 minutes after being in the delivery room waiting, and it was so calm, and I was allowed to have ice chips, and it was just, it was amazing. Yeah, it was about 25 and a half hours later when they told me to start doing the practice pushes. So I did 1 set of practice pushes with the nurse, my mom, and Matt, and then 2 sets of actual pushes with the doctor. And she was out in 30 minutes and she was out at 1:03 a.m. and it was just so incredible. And I was in labor for 25 and a half hours and delivery for half an hour. So altogether it was about 26 hours, nowhere near the 4 or 5 days that they were telling us and kind of scaring us about, but they have to warn you and they have to tell you those things. So I'm extremely grateful that it was quicker than that, but I did labor for a long time, and I am really proud of myself for going through contractions for that long without any medication. It was insane. I was walking up and down the aisles with Matt, hanging on to him. He put me in the shower and was trying to massage me. It was just all types of things. I had brought the exercise ball with me. I was leaning on that, bouncing on that in so many different positions in the room. To be 100% honest, the No, I'm not gonna, I was gonna say one position kind of helped me. No positions really helped me. I was really uncomfortable, did not sleep. The only hour of sleep I got was after the epidural. So I was so happy after that, but it was such an incredible, she has the hiccups. It was such an incredible experience and could not be any more grateful for our beautiful bundle of joy. And okay, so I'm gonna have you guys meet her. Okay, so this is Cleo Love Tyree. So bright, face is so red. She was just scratching her face with her hands. She is my little angel. She is so amazing and such a good baby. Huh, yeah. I think she's trying to poop. So. Anyways, you guys, that is it. That is my labor and delivery story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do a postpartum like video. A lot of you guys are asking me to do like how I lost my baby weight so quickly, which I'm still 10, maybe even 15 pounds away from my pre-baby bod, but I did lose a lot of weight quickly. Sorry, I had to put her down for a second, but I did lose a lot of weight quickly. And a lot of you guys are asking me, you know, what I did and want to know more about my postpartum healing and stuff like that. So let me know if you want me to do a postpartum video, I will. But it feels good to be back and I do want to start doing my fashion videos again. I'm so excited to be wearing regular clothing. It's just been a crazy journey. Thank you to everybody that sent such amazing positive messages my way and DMs on Instagram and stuff like that. You guys are so sweet and thank you for being patient. And I will see you guys next time. Bye. Mwah.